What a piggy. His head is as big as your head. Do they look alike? No, I'd have to like Joker your mouth for it to be as big as Hank's.
Okay, can you please be a good boy? He said no.
Nah, this finger tastes too good.
I'm gonna nibble you. Okay.
Put glasses in there, Bubba. He's a bull in a china shop.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's Hank's personality right there then. All right, we're going back to
let's get into
the
it,
old
baby.
way.
The old way.
All right. So,
opening.
Yep, it's me. That I knew because we just did it, so that's what makes it better. All right, welcome to Chit Chats, a mostly unedited space where we break the cycle of what it means to be a woman together.
What are we talking about today?
I don't know. I'm so excited. Oh, it's so loud.
So loud.
So loud. So loud.
Drum roll.
Okay, I'm gonna go for one of the toasties. Oh, I dropped it. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm very nervous.
Drum roll.
I get nervous that sometimes they're like the same questions. No joke.
What? Was this what you wanted?
No, but this is perfect for Halloween.
What is it?
Oh my God. I can't believe simulation theory. I don't know. If you're a believer of simulation theory, let me know. I like to believe it sometimes, and right now, I'm
tell
in
me
it.
what it is.
Okay, it's ghosts.
Yes! Oh, I love this because this episode is coming out a little bit
Right
closer
before Halloween.
Yeah. Ooh.
This is crazy.
So what about ghosts?
Do we believe they're real? Have we ever seen one?
Okay, so
Oh my God. This is actually crazy. I cannot believe. I don't know if you can read my handwriting, but that's what it says. It says ghosts.
That's amazing.
Crazy. We did not plan that clearly.
I'm gonna definitely need to top off my drink because I've got
got some stories?
Stories.
All right, I have ghost stories too. I have not ever had an encounter, but I do believe that ghosts are real.
Lucky you, babe.
Because I believe that energy cannot be Coca-Cola sponsor us. I do not believe that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. I believe that it goes on and that the soul, after it leaves the body, goes somewhere. So
You want to kick it off?
where
Or
to
you
go?
want me to?
I don't know. I don't know. I kicked it off last time, so why don't you kick it off?
Okay.
I have so many. Oh,
I mean,
my
are we
God.
telling all of our ghost stories or are we just picking the really big ones?
The really big ones. And do you believe they're real?
Okay, so some of them are more woo-woo, so I will just pick
The good ones?
I think I'll just pick, there's 2 short ghost stories that I
Okay.
can tell. So
Clearly you believe they're real.
Oh, absolutely, I believe they're real.
Great,
So, when I was in Girl Scouts, we went to Key West, and of course, we did a ghost tour.
Of course.
As one does when you go to Keys. And
How old were you when you were, like what age Girl Scout?
10 or 11, maybe?
Okay,
So I was fairly young.
But you were still understanding.
Yeah,
You
11,
understood
11
life.
12, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit younger, but I was old enough to understand. Okay, so they said they took us to this spot. They're like, we want you to just stand in front of this house. We're not going to explain anything to you. We just want you to stand there, close your eyes, put your hands out. And they're like, and you tell us, whatever. Well, half the girls, and they all ran away. And I was the last one to stand there. It was me and one of the teachers.
Okay.
And I really stood there. And I could have sworn that I felt someone grab my hand. So I opened my eyes because I thought it was my teacher and no one was there. And it felt like someone grabbed my hand and just kind of pulled it up a little bit, but it was really down low. So it wasn't anything up here. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And the teacher was like, oh, haha, creative imagination. And I was like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Something's holding my hand. So we walked across the street and the tour guide, talked about how that building was an old classroom, and there was a teacher that used to teach like kids that were kind of our age.
Oh, okay.
And
Makes sense why they would bring you there then.
Yeah, and I specifically remember, I want to point this out in the story. I specifically remember saying, I feel like a kid is holding my hand.
Oh, okay.
Because it wasn't the whole hand. It was like, it felt like a little kid's hand.
Like a tiny hand.
Yeah, like a tinier hand. So
I have tiny hands. I wish I had them. I would put them on my finger.
So she said, I think she either taught, it was a schoolyard for either our age or a little bit younger. So she said that essentially that in that building, the teacher was married. The marriage turned abusive, so she tried to leave the husband, and one day, in a fit of rage, he locked them into the building and lit the building on fire. And so they burned alive.
Not nice.
And so the tour guide said that oftentimes what you'll find is if you stand there, that people have said that little kids will hold their hand, or that they'll see little kids playing, or like things like that.
Creepy.
And so for me, I was like, oh, for sure that was a little kid. Like I could feel it. It felt like a little kid. And so that was always one that stuck out to me. And I remember telling the tour guide, because it seemed like he was the only one that believed me. And he's like, oh, I've had experiences of coming into my room and my clothes being folded and like all of these weird, because he lived, I think he lived in one of the houses, but like the bottom of the house was a museum.
Creepy.
And it was like one of those things where like he was a curator of it, but like he was a super nice guy. So that was my one, that was like the first one.
Okay.
And then the second one, my friend and I were babysitting a dog. We were also house sitting. So she was like...
How old were you now?
That's a good question. How old was I at this point?
Old enough to babysit a house.
I
and a
mean,
dog.
I think we were 17 or 18.
Okay, that makes sense.
we were like, we were older.
Yeah, not fully formed yet, but human.
Yeah, but like, so we're walking around, the house, and I just remember like getting really creeped out in the house. And I remember saying like, most of the house was fine, but then you got to a certain area where the little girl's room was, and I was like, ew. Like I just felt like I couldn't even walk into the room because I just felt like creeped out. But I'm like, it's weird. I only feel that way in that part of the house. So we're sleeping on the couch. My friend and I fall asleep. My friend, her head is facing this way, and her feet are facing towards my head, and then my feet are facing towards the bedroom because the way that the living room, the couch was, it was right by the little girl's room.
Okay.
And so they had a little archway, was all that.
Hank,
So
it's a cardboard box.
he loves those. Hank
Cardboard
loves cardboard
boxes.
boxes.
You're a cat, I think. Part cat.
Probably.
Yeah. Hello.
So, middle of the night, I feel something pulling the sheets on by my feet, like, and I kind of like half open my eyes to see my sheets being moved, and I'm like, oh, it's probably the dog.
Yeah.
But the dog with this little like bison frigé or whatever those are called.
Yeah.
So it was a tiny little thing. I couldn't imagine it was like yanking that totally off of me. What creeped me out though was I looked up, and in the archway, I saw a black figure of a woman. And within locking eyes with it, I just, there was no eyes. It was just a black figure. All of a sudden, I heard a visceral, deep, like, scream, like a female scream.
How am I gonna be alone tonight?
Wait, so then I wake up, and I say to my friend, like, what the hell, why did you scream? And she goes, why did you scream? And I was like, I didn't scream.
Story.
I said, I didn't scream. And she said, well, you're pulling the covers off of my feet. And so
he's sticking his head
fully in
my
the
dog's empty bowl, like where the hole where the bowl goes.
He's
now
gonna
he's trying
take
to
the whole
eat
thing.
The whole thing.
Hank, sweetheart.
Hey, come here, Hank.
Come here, baby.
That's not a toy.
Okay, so then she's like, why did you try to pull the covers off of me? I said, I didn't. And then I told her, I was like, I felt the covers being pulled off of me.
No.
So now we're both awake.
No.
We're looking at the dog who is on the other side of the house.
No.
Who's traipsing over to us, and we're like, so what the dog, obviously the dog, because this all happened within like a minute. I couldn't imagine the dog went from pulling my covers off to her covers to then leaving to the other side of the house.
Oh, he's fine.
So we're up, we're up, we're standing there, whatever. And I'm like, okay, we gotta get out. That's it. I gotta leave.
Yeah.
We leave. She comes back. The people come home. She makes a joke. She goes, we think your house is haunted. The mom goes, oh, hi, isn't that cute? She tells the daughter to go outside. Why don't you go play? She goes, actually, the house is haunted. We've had somebody come in to bless it because, and she didn't explain to her anything that happened, because apparently there was a woman that had died in the little girl's room that hates her and always like hurts the little girl to try to get her out of the room. So like everything that I felt, and like we didn't explain anything to her, the wife just knew. So look, you believe what you want.
Yeah.
You believe what you want. I've had some experiences that have shaken me to my core.
Yeah.
That I'm like, you can't explain you could try to. Trust me, I've tried to think of every possibility. I don't want to believe that some demonic spirit screamed at me to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I want to believe that like
Sunshine
I don't know,
and
like the stove went off or something. You know what I mean? Like I want to believe that the dog yelped, but like not the case.
Oh
So
my God.
that's my story.
Oh my God. All right. Well, like I said, I have never personally seen something. I do not want to, and I strongly believe that if you don't want to see it, you will not see it.
Yeah.
So my stories are my one story is from my brother, my oldest brother, Zachary, who's definitely listening to this. So shout out. He is not a liar, and he's also a person who like doesn't see things that like aren't real. He's a very normal human being. So I guess this was when he was walking our dog, Babe, who was my first dog, who passed away. I loved her. She was amazing. And he was walking her at night, and and he saw this woman in a fur coat in the middle of the street. And at first he was like, oh, okay, weird. So as he's kind of looking at her and walking closer, he notices a car is coming down the street, and he's like, oh, she doesn't seem to notice. I think it's my job to let her know that a car is coming. So he screams at her and he goes, hey, lady, a car is coming. So she turns to him, looks him straight in the eye, and the car is coming closer and closer. And my brother's like, no, you have to get out of the street. Like, the car is coming closer to you. And she just kind of smiles. The car drives through her and she vanishes. So super cool. I totally wonder what her story is, because like your stories are a bit more scary, right? Demonic things. Well, the first one isn't scary. It's just a child.
So I will say that at a very young age, I kind of opened the portal, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like I allowed a lot of that, and then as I got older and I got more experience with it, and I talked to people who had experiences and opened up to them about my stories, they're like, you kind of have to shut that, like, you don't have to shut it off all the way, because if you feel like, you know, I've had experiences with like relatives and things like that.
Yeah.
But to be careful to say,
what's that?
To be careful to say, you know, do not know. To be careful to say, like, I can't, you know, if you have like an experience, like I can't help you.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that I've had really any experiences lately.
Like I said,
that have been negative.
I really do believe that you can be in charge of this relationship between you and...
Oh my God, he's over there. I thought he was over here and something just fell over there, and I was like, nope. He hit something that hit that. So
then my second story is something that has happened to me, but like I said, I've never actually seen. So my mom had a brother, and unfortunately he passed away at a young age from a tragic accident. I'm not really sure what happened because it's a big family secret. So we'll get into that in another episode. But so we moved into my mom's house that she grew up in when I was 9 years old, and then my grandparents retired and came to Florida. So he had died like right outside the house, and he was young when he died. He was like 9 to 11 years old, around there. And so he apparently really liked to play pranks. I mean, listen, a 9 to 11-year-old boy, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Of course, you are forever young, and of course you want to play pranks. So when I was living in my room there, I'd constantly wake up and not be able to find my remote. And I'd be like, oh, where's the remote? Like, I don't know where it is. And I'm looking everywhere, and it's literally nowhere in the physical room. And I'm like, this is weird. Mm-hmm. So I'd go downstairs, I'd go to get something from the fridge, and the remote would be in the fridge. And like, clearly I did not do that.
And were you alone in the house?
No, there would be like other people there.
Right.
But you know, like that would happen fairly frequently. And so I always thought it was him. And then I remember the first night, I don't know why my parents thought this was okay, but it's fine. The first night that the first time I was able to stay alone in my house was at night.
Oh no.
Why would you do that to me?
Goodbye.
And that was a terrible idea. And I got very, very nervous at one point. I don't know what happened, but something triggered me, and I was like, danger, danger, danger. I got to go. So at that point we had Babe. No. At that point we had my dog Babe and my dog Madeline. And so I remember after whatever had happened and my freak out, I was like, you know what? I have to get out of the house. I put the dogs on their leash. I closed the door and realized that I had locked myself out. So now I'm alone at night
with the
dogs outside. We live in a fairly safe neighborhood, you know, so like, but we were on a very, very busy street off of. And so I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Cell phones really don't exist, and I don't have one. So I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna start walking on the main road, and I'm gonna be okay. So I start walking the dogs, I'm on the main road, a car starts coming down the street, slows down, they roll down the window, it's my dad and my brother who were coming back from whatever, and they were like, are you okay? Oh my goodness. And I was like, I got spooked and I locked myself out. So I explained the situation. He's just finding all the cat toys. Hank is really a bull in a china shop. He also just wants attention. But so those are some of mine. I have other ones that are more scary, but those are just hearsay ones from my brother's friends.
Which, you know, do we really believe?
Yeah, you take with a grain of salt. But those are mine. He definitely was around. It's not like Jeffrey was not demonic in any way. No. He just was playing. He was a little boy. And like, then I remember I worked as a dresser for a woman who lived in a haunted house. But she told me the story that she came down one night to go get water from her kitchen, and in her living room were just 50 ghosts, and they were playing cards because her house used to be a parlor.
That's kind of cool.
And so she just walked through them. They didn't pay her any mind, and she didn't pay them any mind.
But I think that's it though, right? Is like I truly believe that you have ghosts that will interact with you because they need something or they need help or they don't quite understand where they are. Yep. You're gonna have bad ghosts, and I really think you get a feel for it. Yeah. And I think you have ghosts that just are indifferent. They're like super chill about being dead, and they're hanging in the afterlife. They could absolutely care less. Let them live. Like, that wouldn't bother me. I'd be like, all right, well, as long as they're having a good time, I'm gonna go grab my stuff and go upstairs and go to bed. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't bother me, I won't bother you.
Yeah, it's like a spider that's like up in the corner of your house. You're like, look.
I disagree. You gotta kill the spider.
No, because I think like the spider and I have an agreement. Like, you're gonna kill the bugs that come in here, but you're gonna stay there, and you're not gonna come down.
What's gonna happen when you're sleeping?
It's gonna stay there.
I don't know what he just did. Anyway,
Well,
this
look,
was very
if
fun.
you have your own ghost story,
yeah. Oh, yes. Tell them below.
comment down below, or you can go to www.cyclechats.com.
That's crazy.
We have a story, a newsletter. You can listen to all of our other podcasts there. You can also write in if you have an idea for the show, or you have a suggestion for a guest you'd like to appear on our own show. And we hope
you sync up with us next time. Happy Halloween! Yay! That is crazy.
It's crazy.
That was crazy.
Well, I mean, is it?
I literally didn't plan that.